Hey guys, Coach Nate here, and in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to deadlift and not hurt your back. So I got the bar already set up for you guys. So we have just our 45-pound plates on the side and then a regular bar, so 135 on the bar. All right, so sometimes with the deadlift, the tendency is to load up a lot of weight just because it's one of those lifts where it's easier to use a lot more weight than, let's say, a back squat or front squat. But a lot of times people injure themselves, especially their back, because when they go to lift, they load up the wrong muscles and then their back compromises and takes over. So when you're just starting out, you don't want to start too heavy. And it's hard to say what too heavy is going to be because everybody's going to have different strengths. Everybody's going to be at a different weight. However, we don't want to be like struggling to get it up, compromising form. So that's a big one. Just make sure your form's not getting compromised. And if you're just starting, I would start in a rep range of maybe about 3 to 5. Maybe like 3 or 4 sets of 3 to 5 reps. That way, a lot of times when we're building strength, we start with a rep scheme of like 5 by 5 at 75% of a 1 rep max. Just starting out, it wouldn't be good to do a 1 rep max because, like I said, the form might go and then you might hurt yourself. All right, so the first step that we're going to do with the deadlift is our foot positioning. Feet shoulder width apart, toes can be slightly pointed out. That way we kind of create that power position coming from the ground. The second step on the deadlift is having that bar over the laces or bringing that bar into my shins. Right now the bar is positioned a little bit too far. As you can see, it's a little bit over it's not over my laces, it's over my toes. So what happens is when I go to pull, the bar wants to pull me forward. Any weight that I have is gonna pull me forward, and to compromise for that, my back is gonna be used to try to pull that bar in. So the closer we get, the less we use our back. So if I pull that bar over my shins, just like so, it puts it more on my midline, which is where I'm strongest as an athlete, and I want the bar there so that it pulls less on my back. The third step when I'm deadlifting is that bar path. So our bar path, we want up along the body the whole time. So when I deadlift that bar, I'm actually going to drag it along my shins, just move it slightly out of the way of my knee because you don't want it to catch on your knee, but you're gonna move it slightly out of the way and put it right back on your quads to finish that deadlift. That bar should be along your skin the whole time, which is why oftentimes people recommend you have like high socks or deadlift in some kind of tights or pants. That way, if you can kind of avoid scraping the bar along your shins and scraping it along some of your skin. But that's up to you if you want to do that. Some people don't. It's totally cool. All right, so the fourth step in the deadlift is having an even grip. So as you can see on my bar, there's a smooth part and a rough part where we grip that bar. So I'm gonna go over 2 things, just having an even grip and also the way that we grip. So when I grip that bar, again, I want that even grip. So what I normally do is I measure out about a thumb's distance from that knurling, and then I grab the bar. You can notice that I have about 1.5 inches, 2 inches here, and 1.5 inches and 2 inches on the other side. That way when I pick it up, I'm not teetering, because some people will grab the bar here and then they'll be dipping because the weight isn't evenly displaced. So it's really important that you grip it evenly. I like about a thumb's distance from my quads, which happens to be, again, about a thumb's distance from this knurling. It's gonna be a little bit different for everybody depending on your size, your height, and everything. But that's just what I like for me. And then with the grip on the deadlift, we want to do what's called a hook grip. Hook grip is when I grab my thumb on the other side of the bar with at least 2 fingers, just like I'm doing right now. So I put my thumb around first and then I hook it with 2 fingers. That way when I'm deadlifting and I'm sweaty or I'm tired, I'm not dropping the bar because I'm grabbing my thumb. If I grab it like this, suicide grip, I have a better chance that I'm gonna drop that bar. It's gonna slip out when I'm tired. All right, so the 5th thing that I wanna go over is your butt position. So the butt, we want to stay high as opposed to some of our other lifts where we actually drop the butt into more of a squat. So when I go down into my setup position, again, we got the feet, we pull the bar over the laces, right? Have our grip. Then what I want to do is I want to keep my butt high. So I keep it high here instead of going into a full squat, just like so. I keep it here and I want to make sure those hamstrings are loaded. That leads us into the 6th thing, which is to actually load the hamstrings and glutes. So what I do when I deadlift, I get into that position with the butt staying high. So just like so. And what I do is I kind of flex my hamstrings and flex my glutes a little bit. That way I can kind of tell my body that those are the muscles I want to activate. If they're not activated and then I try to yank that bar off the ground, the body's gonna try to compromise by activating something quickly because it knows it's gotta lift it up. So what often happens is it triggers the back and quads. So what I wanna do is I just wanna flex those hammies and those glutes just to tell my body, hey, get ready, you're going to use these muscles in the lift. The seventh thing that I wanna go over is your scapula. So your scaps are your shoulder blades in the back. What I like to imagine is that I'm pinching a pencil or like a tennis ball in the middle of my back. So you want to pull those scaps back and maintain a big chest and a flat back. So when I'm setting up, what I like to do is I like to roll my shoulder blades back. When my butt's in this high position and I roll my shoulder blades back, I can tell that they're engaged, but I feel a little bit of a burn underneath the bottom of my shoulder blades. And when you deadlift, you'll actually feel part of your lats and part of your scapulas kind of activate and they'll kind of pull down. But that's good because that means that we've activated the upper back instead of targeting our lower back on the lift. So you want to make sure that you pull your scaps back, kind of lengthen those arms right before you deadlift. All right, so the eighth thing that we want to remember is to drive through the feet. A lot of times I see people load up and they bend their arms right before they deadlift. So they go here and then they try to pull the bar. But when I deadlift, I don't want this to be an arm workout. I don't want to have to hold that contraction with my bicep. I want to lengthen my arms, like I said, by dropping that scapula, pulling those shoulder blades back, keeping that chest big. And what I want to think is I want to drive through the feet. So rather than I'm pulling that bar off the ground, I want you to think that you're pushing into the floor. When you think that, it kind of changes your lift and you'll be able to drive into the floor a little bit more. And that bar comes up as a result of that. So again, we set up with the bar here, maintain that high butt, roll the scaps back, and I want to think I'm driving through my feet as I pull that bar up. The ninth thing I want to go over is pulling the slack out of the bar. So a lot of times you'll see people, they go to deadlift, they get to their setup position, it's great, and then they do this, and they yank it. And there's a lot of slack you can feel in that bar, but what that does is, again, you kind of shock your body by yanking it so quick that the body's got to compromise because it knows that weight has to come up. So something's going to get activated. A lot of times people pull their back by doing that. So what you want to do is after your setup, again, pull those shoulder blades back, keep that butt high, drive through the floor and pull out the slack. So you can see I kind of pull out the slack and then I go into my lift. So you want to pull that out of the bar first, that way you don't ruin your back. So the last step number 10, would just be to stand up. So again, after everything's activated, I'm thinking drive through the floor, I pull my scaps back, I pull that slack out of the bar, then I'm pushing into the ground and standing up, just like so. You can drop it, you can go down with it, either way, it's fine. After you practice drilling some of those cues into your brain, it kind of becomes muscle memory. Then you really won't have to think about it. It'll kind of be automatic when you go to deadlift every time. So keep practicing those cues and just kind of go through them. So I get a lot of questions about how to improve your deadlift or how to build strength or muscle or endurance. So there's actually a couple different rep schemes. In science, they kind of figured out that typically a rep range of about 1 to 5, 1 to 6 is optimal for building strength. So you're gonna build a lot of strength when you do sets of 1 to 6 reps, and maybe about 3 to 4 sets of that. If you wanna get big, you wanna put on muscle, and that's called hypertrophy. It's a rep range of either 6 to 8 to about 15. So doing like 3 to 4 sets of that is what's gonna make you bigger or put on more muscle mass. And then if you wanna work on that muscular endurance, sets from a range of about 15 reps and on is gonna be more geared toward muscular endurance. All right guys, so that's the 10 steps to go through while deadlifting. That's how to do it properly. So just make sure you kind of take note of those, maybe write those down or bring them with you into the gym and just kind of go through it. That way you can stay safe and then you'll be lifting big weight in no time. All right guys, I'm Nate with CrossFit Fullerton. I'll catch you guys in the next video.